Hi, Stuart. I have a question.
Yes.
I'm trying to accept a situation and a person as it is.
As
And I find that I have to keep justifying how I was right and that person was wrong. And so I'm not able to accept. So I was wondering if you could give some advice on that.
well, the question I would have is, what can you learn from this other person? What is that person in your life there to teach you? Because if you just listen and try to see past right or wrong, you'll discover that that person has a purpose. Maybe the purpose is to teach you to get strong enough inside where you don't have to justify what you do, that you can really be around people that maybe disagree with you and you think are wrong, but so what? Their presence and what they say, in order for you to digest it, open, and not allow yourself to get into a big fight with them, you have to go very deep inside yourself and connect with a higher force of energy in the universe. That will give you the strength to be able to see why this person is in your life. Now, this is not an easy thing to do. And yeah, there's a lot of nonsense that goes on in the world. And whether it's right or wrong, honestly, Match, I gave up, 30 years ago trying to figure out what the hell was right or wrong in this life. But I did make the commitment to myself. I will use everything as a reason to grow inside myself. And I've had some pretty terrible stuff that people tried to do to me in my life, really terrible. I won't go into what it was, but when I kept going to my teachers and asking them, what should I do? The answer I got from 4 or 5 different teachers was forgive them and move on in your life. Forgive them and move on in your life. I tried it and it really worked. It really worked. It enabled me to get past the problems. It enabled me to get really strong inside myself. And it enabled me to even be grateful for those people who I didn't agree with and were trying to do, because their presence was instrumental in me growing in a very profound way. So it depends on how you use the situation. If you have to be right, you're going to be in for war for the rest of your life. You say, okay, what is this person teaching me about me and what I have to learn and how I have to overcome this whole thing in me that has to be right and they're wrong. And honestly, I said this, but I'll say it again. I gave up being right many, many years ago. I just said, Stuart, whatever people bring to you, use to grow and build a strong inner life and to let them be. Someday they'll find out what they have to learn about life. I don't have to be the one who has to teach them that. I mean, I hope this is clear. It's not easy to do, and it takes a lot of work on a person's part to be able to do it on themselves. That's what these classes are all about, to build the kind of chemistry inside yourself that doesn't allow you to allow your life being sucked out of you by some argument about who's right or wrong. Your life is more valuable than being right. Again, this is not easy to do. And I would say I've never met anybody who's not up against it. I've never met anybody who, at one point or another, doesn't have to justify their life and prove that they are right and somebody else is wrong. I mean, for God's sake, if all these wars would stop, if people would just listen to each other, it's okay, I'm wrong. Teach me what I have to do to be right. Okay, I'm right. Teach me how to listen to you and let you live. Let me develop my humanity. I mean, all this stuff in the Ukraine and Israel and Palestine and, Gaza would all disappear if people would stop being right or being wrong. They would just listen to each other and say, okay, how can we do this as human beings? Nobody has to be right if it's going to hurt another human being. And nobody has to be wrong if they're going to get hurt or their argument is going to hurt somebody else. And it takes a really big person to get past these things. And where are you going to get the bigness? You have to go where it is. It comes from a higher source of energy, giving you the capacity to let the world be. That we don't have to sit in judgment of anybody else. And to truly find out what they are teaching us about ourselves and what we have to do to grow. Again, it's not easy to do, but I certainly think it's worth the effort to get to a place where you're not wasting a lot of energy being right or wrong all the time and having to fight with other people about what's right and what's wrong. And there's so much right and wrong in this world that you go crazy living that way. And the fact is that what's right to each and every one of us can be completely wrong to somebody else. I mean that. I mean, people tell me you teach paganism, you teach people they're all going to wind up in hell. I mean, I teach this class, it's all about love and about building a system inside to get more human and to learn how. And I have people tell me that what you do is serving the devil. I mean, what am I going to do? Fight with them? I used to take it seriously. Now I can just laugh at it and say, what, I don't have to prove what I do to anybody else. It works. It's worked for me. It saved my life. I have infinite gratitude to the people that taught me what I've learned. And I've seen it help many, many, many people in their life. Whether it's right or wrong or good or who cares? I hope that's clear, because this is what you asked, Manchi. It's not just for you. Everybody goes through this. Everybody. And you have to reach a place where you understand what works, what helps me in my life, and not have to make excuses to anybody. You do what works for you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. I mean, I just to finish this, I spent so many years of my life being literally the black sheep of my family. They didn't even want to talk about me. What I was doing with my life in their eyes was so terrible. I really mean this. I mean, I had a guru. I was tramping, going around the world. I was, hitchhiking. I mean, I lived like a vagabond from the age of 16 to 25. And then after that, I had a guru, which was something that nobody in my family could even comprehend. And one day I went home. I didn't go, I went to my aunt's house. They were having a dinner, a ceremony, a Jewish holiday. And I went there, and she came up to me and said, Stuart, you're into all this stuff. I don't understand it, but you're into it. My cousin was sick in the hospital. And the doctors told her she had like a month to live. She had a very serious cancer. And she said, could you go there and maybe you can help her? I mean, it blew my socks away. Because in times of need, people forget about what they believe and don't believe. Can you help my daughter? So I went to the hospital and it was extraordinary. And I hadn't seen my cousin, it must have been at least 10 years. And she was lying in bed with a stomach, she had a liver tumor and all kinds of problems, the stuff, was spreading throughout her whole system. And I looked at her, and the first question I asked her is, do you want to live? And she said to me, yes, I have children, I have a husband. I sat and it was the first time in my life I did this, really, beside the time I did it with Rudy. The exercises that he taught me to heal people. 3 weeks later, the cancer went into complete remission and she left the hospital. She was running around, the hospital, telling everybody, you got to get my cousin to work on you. This is unbelievable what he does. And 6 months later, my mother calls me up, can I come to your meditation classes? Whole energy changed. Just changed. My mother used to come every weekend to meditation, something to sit there and do Kundalini yoga with your mother. And you talk about working out karma. It was really extraordinary, So what I'm saying is don't worry about what other people think. Just do what works for you and believe in what you do and make it work for you in such a profound way that you open enough to finally all these people begin to look at you in a different way. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, as I announced, I'm going away. I'm taking a vacation. I need a vacation. And I'm looking forward to coming back. The next class will be not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. And also, on the weekend of August 10th, for those of you who don't know about it, I'm having a retreat here. And there'll be no class that weekend, that Sunday. Because there's a big crowd of people. My apartment is full up with people that are coming. It's my birthday retreat. I do it every year. Does anyone else have a question? If people want to come to retreats, there's going to be another one in October, another one in December. Let me know. There's already 7 people that have signed up for October. And I think 5 or 6 people for December. So let me know. It's developing a little bit of popularity what I do on that weekend. So if you want to come, let me know. And you can let myself or Jennifer takes care of all the basics. And will be put on the list. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, then thank you. God bless you all. Thank you for being in my life. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in a couple of Tuesdays. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome.